Hello and happy spring conference, VAASL members. My name is Barbara Haas and I am the librarian at T.C. Bouchon Middle School, which is on the south side of the city of Richmond.
And my name is Jen Dool. I'm the Young Adult Coordinator with the Richmond Public Library.
And we are here today to talk to you about everything you wanted to know about YAVA, but were afraid to ask. The YAVA stands for Young Adult Virginia Author Award, and it was started in 2013 as 13 as an opportunity to get some hype about Virginia authors during Teen Read Week. That is a mouthful. So with the help of a few local authors that you may or may not recognize, Meg Medina, Ann Westrick, and Kat Spears, they put together an event honoring Virginia authors who write for young adults. That year, we had a book and author party celebrating Virginia authors. There were author panels, book signings, but an award wasn't given out that first year.
And actually, if you want to show them the next slide, Barbara,
Yes, thank you so much, Jen.
You're
we
welcome.
will get the hang of this eventually, y'all. All right, so yes, this was our graphic for Teen 13. It had all the different books that were up for the YAVA or for the Teen 13 party by Virginia authors.
Yeah, and you can see we had it from the picture. We had a great turnout of local authors, and they, I think, had a really great time there. Now, a couple years later, in 2015, we made sort of our first shift with this program, and we established what we called the YAVA Award, or the Young Adult Virginia Author Award. And with that, we offered a cash prize to the winning author. So that was pretty exciting. The way the award worked initially was that we had a nominee period of books that had been published for young adults, within the prior year to 2 years. It was a little bit flexible at that point. And we had a popular voting period. So we had the public vote to determine who they felt was their favorite young adult Virginia author. And we still kind of had a author meet and greet event for a while, and eventually down the road switched formats to a format that we use today. And for lack of a better word or phrase, the format is essentially like speed dating, but we don't like to call it that. We usually come up with a term based on whatever the theme is that year. But the way that it works is we have our participants at the program sitting at tables, and we have an author or two sit at the various tables as well, and they get an opportunity to talk about their books, and the participants get an opportunity to ask questions, and then the authors actually rotate around to the other tables. We've called it mingling with the authors, parlor games, quests, all kinds of different things, like I said, just depending on the theme. So we have found that has been the format that works the best. We, as you can tell, have made some changes over the years. The introduction of the award was one of the biggest shifts. And then in 2018, we started requiring the author to come back and do a program at the library. We felt like we wanted to continue to build off the success of the program and find an additional opportunity to highlight the author as well. And then in 2019, we started raffling off a visit from the author to a local school. So we shifted from a library-centered program to more of an outreach-centered program with a local school. So that was kind of fun. We've tried all kinds of different things just to see what works well. And then in 2020, we made a major shift to utilizing teen judges instead of popular voting. And we're going to talk about that in just a little while. That required actually a shift in our whole timeline, which was quite the feat, but we did it. So we'll talk about that in just a bit.
Thanks, Jen. I'm going to go to the next slide now. All right. Um, so book selection, how do we choose the books that are up, nominated for the YAVA award? And the first one is they must live in Virginia. The book must have been released during the previous year. The book must have been written for readers in middle or high school. The main character must be at least 13 years of age. And the book may be any kind of genre, fiction, nonfiction, poetry, graphic novel, whatever, as long as the author is from Virginia and it meets the other criteria, that book would be up for consideration. Authors then, after they've been nominated, must submit 2 copies of their book. And we give those out to the committee to read ahead of time. And then we have an evaluation that we came up with, and we based it on the one that YALSA uses. Thank you. Like when you're recording, your brain goes blank. But we based it on the one that they use for their team program, and the categories are appeal, quality, characters, content and style, and plot. And we ask for the authors then to submit their contact information, a link to their website. We like a headshot of the authors as well, if they have that available, and then a summary of their nominated book.
Yeah, so once the committee has determined which nominated books will move forward to the teen judging round, and that is a very loose, that's sort of the easy part of the judging process for the books. Then we move on to the teen judges. And as I mentioned, we switched to that just a few years ago. And the reason that we did that is because we felt that using popular voting, we were not seeing sort of an even distribution of the word getting out to the community across Virginia. And so, some authors would really do a great job of promoting the award. And obviously they tended to get more votes, which is great. And we love that they got involved, but our goal for selecting a winner for the year was the favorite book of teens. And so we made the decision to switch to having teen judges, and it has really gone over well. We're in our 2nd year of doing it right now, getting ready to enter into our 3rd. This process was also based off of how YALSA does their Teen Top 10 Awards. And basically, our teen judges have to submit an application. They have to answer 4 short essay questions for us about why they want to be a teen judge, what their favorite book is, what are their favorite genres, and what they feel makes a book worthy of an award. They also have to provide us with references and sign a memorandum of agreement. So it's kind of a big deal for teens. It looks great on applications and resumes, and it's a really fun opportunity. We do provide all the teens with copies of all the nominated books. And the way that we find our teens is we advertise through all of our school contacts. We advertise through VAASL, the Library of Virginia listserv. We try to get out the word as much as we possibly can, in addition to doing things like this too. And so we had a really great outpouring. We weren't sure. Our first launch of it was actually at the very beginning of the pandemic. And so we weren't sure what kind of response we would get, but we got a really, really great response. And it was pretty hard to narrow down almost 100 applications to just 17 judges. But we did, and we had some really great success with that. So they actually evaluate all the books. They are required to read the first chapter of all the nominated books for the year, and then select 5 that they want to read in their entirety. And then they get together at the very end and they kind of debate back and forth about who they feel should be the winner. So that's really fun, and we're getting ready to have that meeting for this year's award. So it's kind of my favorite part of the process.
I know that's so exciting. I love it when kids are fighting for their books to win. There's nothing better than that. I will add one more thing that one of our teen judges from our first year graduated from high school, and now she's on our committee. So I think that says a lot for the you know the teens being involved and really feeling committed to this process and wanting to stick with it. I think that's awesome. All right, next slide, right?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right, YAVA today. Um, so we are, since COVID, we have decided that this year we're going to do a hybrid event. But we will have an in-person event, and we are hoping for really good weather so that we can hold this inside the Richmond Public Library, the main branch of the Richmond Public Library. We will be continuing the same format where the participants sit at tables, and then the authors will come around and they will move and come and talk to each of the tables. I think, Jen, you were going to talk then about maybe some other aspects of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as you can see from this slide, the theme that we've selected for this year's event is Into the Forest. So it's kind of a enchanting afternoon with the authors. And we are still waiting to hear back about which authors will be attending, but usually the majority of them do attend. One of the things that I could guess that a lot of you that are listening struggle with is how to manage the hybrid piece of the programming. And essentially what we've decided to do, and we'll have to get back to you and let you know how it's going to work or how it does work in reality, is we're going to have one staff person assigned to a computer, which will be broadcast over our YouTube channel. And so essentially that computer will be like a participant at the event. So whoever's attending virtually can type in questions for the authors. They can be eligible for raffles. They can feel like they're part of it as well. So it should be a really great time. We're planning all the decorations. We're planning all the themed snacks and doing all of that good stuff. We also we plan a author luncheon for the authors prior to the event. And we've done this every year, and we've had really positive feedback for them from the authors, because apparently they don't get a lot of time to hang out with each other. So it's a nice networking and just, opportunity for them to get to meet and mingle with each other. We do that before the actual party itself or the celebration itself. And it's sort of our way of saying thank you to them for attending, because of course only the winning author takes home a cash prize. The rest of the authors are kind of coming out of the goodness of their hearts, and also to promote their books as well.
Yeah. And it's also another really good perk if you decide you would like to be on the committee or a teen judge. If you're promoting it with your students, the teen judges in the committee attend that luncheon. So it's a really great way for them to have private, intimate access with Virginia authors. So that's a plug if you're trying to get your teens to apply to be a judge.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about that towards the end of the presentation.
We will, yeah. All right, next slide. All right, so the reason that we are here talking to you today is because we want to really expand across Virginia, because these authors do represent the entire state. We're really looking to branch out all over the state. So we're doing things like presenting at conferences. And we are looking to expand our committee so that we have people on the committee from all over the state. And I think prior to COVID, we had tried this to dial in and have virtual meetings. But I feel like if one thing that we have learned through COVID is how to meet virtually. So I think we're so much better at it now. So we will be putting the link to the application to join the committee on the VAASL listserv. So please look for it there, and please consider giving your time to be part of this really fabulous event and award.
Absolutely. So in addition to presenting at conferences, trying to expand our committee, some of the other ways that we've been trying to level up with this program is thinking about making, I had mentioned that we are requiring a returning author event, thinking about ways that we can make that even bigger. Some of you may know that recently Teen Tech Week and Teen Read Week were combined to just Teentober. And so we've been thinking about ways that we can have this event, this awards event in the spring, and then bring back our winning author during Teentober and make it an equally big event as well. Whether that's through visiting schools or coming to our library and making sort of a bigger celebration there, or perhaps a series of programs. We're kind of exploring those options. So again, looking for people to get more involved, to bring some new ideas to the table, hopefully, and see where the future takes us.
Absolutely. The future looks bright. All right, next slide. How can you get involved? Definitely by joining the committee. So as I said, we are going to put that link up on the VAASL listserv. We will also share our contact information with you. And you can reach out to either of us at any time if you have any questions or want to get involved in some way, but you're not sure how.
Yeah, and the committee really just meets monthly. There are slower points throughout the year where we may not meet every single month, but typically we meet every month because this is sort of a year-long process. And so, between the nominations and then the teen judges and then planning for the celebration itself, we really do have a lot of work, but it's fun work.
It is fun work. It is super fun. And you get to meet
Yeah.
really cool people.
Mhm. Um, Another way that you can get involved is by helping us to promote the opportunity for teens to apply to be a judge. Um, I will say that our numbers dipped. I don't really understand why our numbers dipped a little bit the year after COVID started. So I think usually we open it up around May, and it runs May through June. Where teens can apply to be a judge. And I think at that point, going back to in-person school might have thrown a little bit of a wrench into things. But we are always looking, again, to expand our reach to teens, especially outside of the Metro Richmond area. We try to select teen judges from throughout the state. So being sort of an advocate for that, helping to find teens in your community at your library that you think might really enjoy this opportunity or be a good fit for it, would be another way that you could help us and get involved too.
Yes, definitely. And then we understand that you all are all over the state, but we want you to feel some sense of excitement too. And one of the ways you could do that is with a YAVA nominated book club in your library. If you wanted to have those books available for students, read them with them, have your own voting. But YAVA nominated book clubs would be a really good idea to just generate some excitement around the event and around the books and around the authors.
And I imagine too, some of the authors being local and maybe even more local to your area than they are to us,
Yeah,
you might be able to get them to come visit your school or your library. So that would be an
sure,
opportunity
for
too.
sure. Yeah.
Another idea that we had for you to get involved is to kind of stage your own voting at your library. So we release our nominees the Monday after our celebration. So in this case, it would be April 25th this year. Um, and so once you find out our nominees, you can work to promote those in your library, whether it's through a book club or another means. And then as you get closer to the following spring, you can kind of hold your own voting and see what the teens in your area, which book they think should be the winner. That can be kind of a fun opportunity for them to participate as well.
I know, and they get so upset if their book doesn't win. Which is fine. Yes, it generates a lot of conversation. Um, Also, so I got involved really with YAVA because, or really in the Teen 13 event, because I brought my students to the event. So I would organize a field trip every year. Of course, we haven't done that with COVID. It's been a little tough. But I would get a bus. Our event is on a Saturday. So I would have the students meet me at school. We would get on a bus. We would go to the event. We would come back and their parents would pick them up. But if that is not possible, a field trip to Richmond for the event, you could also host watching parties in your own neighborhood, in your own schools, or virtually through your classrooms, Google Classrooms, or however you do it. But watch parties, if you can't make it to the actual event, are also super fun. But field trips and watch parties are a great way to create buzz and really get excited about these Virginia authors.
And it's a ready-made program for your students, which is
Exactly.
always
Yeah. And if they do come, we have activities, giveaways, and so it is really a fun event. There'll be snacks. So it is really worth it to try to get here if you can, but we understand that that's just not possible for everybody. But it is a super fun event and the kids just love it. I don't know, can I go back? I just want to go back to this picture here. These are two of my students coming back on the bus. And they didn't know each other before they left on this event. One was a 6th grader and one was an 8th grader. And they actually, we were able to purchase one book for each of the students who went with us on the field trip, and they picked the same book. And on the way back from the field trip, we're reading together, buddy reading together, which, right, like as a librarian, that's exactly what I wanted. Like I couldn't have asked for anything better. And when I'm having a bad day, I will always look at this picture and think, this is why we do it. This is it right here. And they got to meet that author and talk to her. Like that was the coolest thing ever. Sorry, that's all I wanted to say.
I'm just gonna add to that. I think what is unique about this event is that it brings so many local authors together. I mean, how many opportunities do teens get to meet with 8, 10, 12 different authors all in the same afternoon and speak with them in a small group setting, where they can ask questions and speak to that author personally? I feel like a lot of author events are authors presenting to a larger crowd or putting on a workshop and a little more structured, and this is just a very informal, fun, down to earth opportunity where they get to hear about these books, and the authors just do such a great job of getting them excited about reading. It's just a more personal touch, and I think that it's effective, as you can see.
Yeah, it's definitely very effective. And another thing about that too is they get to see the authors are real people, right? Like we do have like 8 to 10 to 12 authors all in one place. Some are really shy, and some are really outgoing, and you have everything in the middle. And it's just really great for the kids to see that authors are people too. And so anyway, some they relate to and some they don't, and it's just amazing to see.
Yeah,
It's a really cool event.
That's a picture of our lineup for this year. And our event is on April 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m., as you can see from our graphic there. And it will be at the main library. So if you are local to Richmond, you can come, bring your students. If you're not local, you can tune in via our YouTube channel. So there's still time to kind of think about how you might participate this year too.
I wonder, do we have that a little bit? Do we have it listed on one of the other graphics?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
No. Okay. I thought, okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know if you can read those or not.
If you go to our website, which is rvalibrary.org/events/YAVA, YAVA, you can get all the details on the nominated authors, their books, the event, all of that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait. I hope it's a beautiful day and all of you can come. If you have any questions at all, if we haven't answered everything you wanted to know about YAVA, please reach out to either of us. We are happy to talk to you, probably more than you want to, about YAVA.
Yep, and I think actually on our last slide, we have all our contact info.
Yep, there it is. It's also a QR code for a Kahoot, which we're not going to do today because we're not in person. But that is our contact information.
Thanks for attending today, and please reach out if you have any questions or thoughts.
We look forward to seeing you on April 23rd.